this one, it's a common thing, and I suppose it's becoming a problem. Maybe already is a problem. And I think I did a video on it before. And that is tipping for a service in Canada, in the US, and some other countries, because apparently in the UK tipping isn't that big of a thing, but here it's expected. And typically you go to a restaurant, the expected tip is at least 18% on your entire bill, which is a lot, right? Because in Ontario, where I live now, the taxes are 13% on top of your whatever you pay. And then you have to also get a tip, or give a tip. So that's an extra expense. So eating out in a restaurant is expensive. And now, what's happened recently is that even fast food places want tips now. And the question is, what are you tipping for? The service or to pay the salary of the person? Because paying the salary of the person is the job of the employer. And everyone seems to be tricked into believing that the customer has to pay the salary of the worker. Nobody really puts pressure on the employer. Even the workers don't put pressure on the employer. They're like, yeah, you should tip. So there was this one time where we went as a group to a restaurant. As a restaurant that I go to, it's a good place. I go to, fairly frequently. And we were done, and most of the people paid with a credit card and tipped with a credit card. One person didn't, but they were going to tip with cash. And when we had a waiter, when he noticed that one person didn't tip, he went up and he started to harass them. I was like, we have to pay people in the back for the tip, and making excuses why they should tip. And the intention was to tip anyway, but it was strange that they almost demanded the tip. Generally, the place is still good, but I mean, the expectation again is that you tip something. In Ontario, I believe that people who work in restaurants are paid at least minimum wage. So compared to the US, I believe they aren't. They are paid less. So how is it that here you would expect to make minimum wage plus more versus other people who work minimum wage, and they don't get tips? There are a lot of minimum wage jobs. People just they don't get tips. So working in a restaurant somehow gives you the advantage that you make extra money, and you can make a good amount. I think I've heard that like maybe bartenders, maybe hotel workers, and maybe some high-end restaurants, those workers can make a lot in tips. But there is some debate. People will say, if you can't afford to tip, then go out to eat. It's a strange thing to say. At least we don't have a service charge. I think sometimes the restaurant might say, we will add on a service charge or something like that if your group of people is big enough. So I don't know about that. The other thing is that a lot of companies like to promote donations for charity. And that's a way to get money from customers. And because it might be a small amount from a lot of people, you can add up. To each person, it isn't usually like a huge amount. Like, let's say it's $1. You want to give $1 or $5. Some people could afford to do it. It's not a problem for them. But these big companies, they they make millions, sometimes more, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, and they make a huge amount in profits, and the top level people make a lot, right? They get paid millions, hundreds of thousands, whatever. Yet they want customers to donate. And maybe customers are maybe poor people, right? Sometimes middle class. But the thing is that then these companies take your donations and use it as a tax write-off because it's money that they put towards a donation. So they get a tax break. I don't know how the tax code works to allow that. I believe it's true. I haven't looked into it, but I know it's really just an exploitation tactic. Make you feel guilty to give money for them to make more money. And it's kind of similar in the way that, again, the big companies would try to make you feel guilty to tip. Like these your workers are having a hard time. They can't pay bills, so you should tip more. But why doesn't the employer just pay more? Because then they will say, okay, well, when I have to raise prices, you could probably take a cut in the amount of money you make. Like, you don't need to have that much profit, The takeaway is, and a lot of people have different opinions on this. They would insist that, okay, they will donate for charity because they want to feel like they're better than other people. Or sometimes they might genuinely want to donate to charity. And for tipping too, they feel, yeah, I'm a good tipper. You poor because you can't tip, or you cheap because you can't tip. So, but all that said, I still tip. I tip 18% minimum for dine-in restaurants, like sit-down restaurants, not fast food, not takeout. And I probably shouldn't make a rant about it. It's not a big deal, is it? Maybe it is a big deal. My takeaway message for now is to stop giving away money. If you are not rich and you need money to somehow improve your life, if you have debts, then save your money and use it wisely instead of giving it away to feel better, because to feel like you're a good person. Anyway, that's enough for now. Save your money.